Power Breakfast, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on Power 98.7.
So, Black Friday is the buzzword at the moment. It says apparently it's undergone a remarkable transformation in South Africa. The frenzied scenes of shoppers queuing for hours and stampeding through store doors have given way to a more calculated strategic approach to deal hunting. As we navigate Black Friday 2025, it's clear that South African consumers are no longer treating this as a single-day shopping spree, but rather as Black November, an extended period for careful and planning and research. This year's shopping behavior reflects a fundamental shift in how South Africans approach Black Friday. Let's hear more. We've got on the line Director of Consumer Markets at BDO South Africa, Palesa Ngomeza. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Tabitha. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about that. What are the main changes that the emerging trends in as far as Black Friday is concerned?
Yes, so look, I think, definitely this year's Black Friday is a lot different. I think because of the economic climate, especially in South Africa, consumers are actually prioritizing necessities, over non-essentials, and as opposed to, splurging on items that they don't really need. It's more of a, as you said, strategic and more calculated, shopping event, and more of a financial management tool, to ensure that they're actually stocking up on what they really need as opposed to items that are actually non-essential to them.
And is this also a response perhaps to a change in the form that the retailers are now also approaching the market in terms of the options that they are presenting to the consumer? Has there been a shift there as well?
There definitely is a shift. Look, I think, historically, Black Friday was a single day event, which caused chaos and a frenzy, essentially. But I think retailers are realizing that, the needs of the shoppers actually needs to be addressed. And shoppers actually would like more time to make more calculated decisions and, hunt for more deals and just to benefit from more deeper discounts. So what we're also seeing is that retailers are actually starting to offer, much more significant discounts, as opposed to, your, let's say, 5 to 10% off or whatever the case is, because consumers are actually not purchasing if it actually does not reflect a much more deeper discount and something that's more meaningful and will address their needs. So this shift definitely reflects an understanding of today's consumers and what they actually will purchase.
But is there an acid test really as to whether I am getting a good deal here? You often hear it said by conspiracy theories that what these people do is that they'll put the price up and then come Black Friday tell you that, we've slashed 35% off it.
No, true. Look, I think the key is also to do research. Prior to Black Friday, I think a lot of consumers are doing their research long ahead of, what we now call Black November, so they realize where they are getting value. And where it's not obviously beneficial for them, then they will not purchase because they realize that actually it's not much of a discount. In fact, they might have dropped it by maybe say 5%, but make it look like it's 35% because the price might have actually been marked up just before Black Friday. But those that have done their research will know that, a month or two before that, the price was significantly higher, and therefore I'm actually getting, a better deal for my money.
Absolutely. Now, the idea that it now becomes a Black November or as opposed to a one-day event, is that an opportunity or more of a trap for the consumer? As in now, there are more opportunities to tempt you.
Look, I think it's both ways. I think for the consumer, it definitely allows more time, as I mentioned, to make more, calculated and strategic purposes, as opposed to if you only have one day, that's where the impulsive shopping actually happens. So if it's spread over a period of, say, a month, you've actually got time to do the research, compare the deals, which retailer is actually offering me better value for my money. So in that sense, it does, benefit the consumer. From a retailer's perspective, I think, the reason we are seeing an extended sort of Black Friday is I think they've realized that they can actually capture, a lot more sales if they extend the period, as opposed to only having it over sort of a weekend. So in a sense, it might be a trap in the sense that, you are enticed, but you do at least have the opportunities and the time to, make a more informed decision, as opposed to having just one day or one weekend, to make that purchase.
Great stuff. Thank you so much there to Palesa Ngomeza, Director of Consumer Markets at BDO SA. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tagiso. Lovely to have you.